On this episode of Simply Southern New England, we'll start things off with a jolt at Providence's Bolt Coffee Company. Then we're getting excited for the 2021 Audrain Concours in Newport. Bring your camera. We're going out and about to the underground wonder that is Howe Caverns. Then we'll learn how the Nature Conservancy is protecting our shoreline. Before we say goodbye to summer with a seafood paella recipe from Nick Rabar. Simply Southern New England is brought to you by Harbor One Bank. With you in banking and life. Hey, I'm Becky Gibble, and this is Simply Southern New England. Today's show is all about a spectacular send-off for summer and a welcome to that Goldilocks time of year in New England where you can still drink your Dells but also wear your favorite hoodie. Stick around, we've got a lot of show. Hey folks, welcome back. I'm standing here in downtown Providence at the site of 10,000 Suns, a field of sunflowers that was built not only to benefit the environment, but also to bring people together. Next up, we visit another spot that brings people together, Bolt Coffee, that just opened their newest location in downtown Providence, where they aim to serve up community in every cup.
Bolt Coffee is a community, you know?
Bolt Coffee, we're a specialty coffee roaster and retailer with 3 retail locations in the city.
We really respect and thrive by being community-based and being coffee for the people of Providence and not just coffee to sell coffee.
You know, our whole goal was to provide these and curate these spaces to kind of facilitate people connecting with each other.
This is our HQ or roastery.
Roasting, packing, distribution is what happens here.
In the way back, we have Mike roasting. Mike's our assistant roaster, and he's knocking out about 29 batches today, which is just shy of 500 pounds for the day. Kim is our wholesale director. Essentially, if you've ever ordered a coffee from Bolt or ever gone to a shop that's carrying Bolt, Kim has touched your coffee. So Kim kind of runs the show out here.
This is our newest location. It's in downtown Providence, right next to City Hall.
During this time of year, the espresso tonic is definitely our most popular drink. Very effervescent. We use our featured espresso for that, which is usually more of a lighter roast and more fruit forward. And it mixes so well with tonic water. This store specifically opened up 5 days before the lockdown. And then we had to close down for 2-ish months.
Our entire existence at that location has been, pretty crazy. And slowly, kind of taking measured steps to reopen and try to gain a little bit of workflow normalcy and interpersonal normalcy.
And that was so nice.
Our crew has been rock solid. Most of them worked the entire way through the pandemic, which is just crazy.
I consider Bolt like my family, and since the pandemic, I think that's just become even more true.
We're always there for each other, and it's a great feeling that these aren't just coworkers. These are people I genuinely want to talk to and love and enjoy being around.
We've gone through every stage of the pandemic together, and we've all been each other's sounding boards with how stressed we've been, how comfortable we are. It's really been a team collaborative.
We do try really hard to make sure that everything we source and bags, it's handled with such care and with a lot of thought process going out. And I just want people to know that we're for everyone.
Next up, we're gearing up for Motor Week in Newport. We meet up with the owner of one of the rarest cars left on this earth. It's literally 2 of a kind. Come on, let's check it out.
This is a 1910 Oakland. My dad bought this car in 1930. It's been in garages and everywhere. It was a total disaster. It was a wreck. It took 7.5 years to restore. I really don't care to tell you how much money I've spent, but I know one thing. I drank a lot of vodka. I swore. I did everything in my power to keep my head straight. I didn't hold back anything when I had this car restored. I think it has a lot of class myself. I have no mirrors. People come up on my tail and I just hear the brakes and I'm just wondering how soon I'm going through the windshield, because they really want to get a good look, because as of right now, and I've been doing this for approximately 10 years, there are only 2 of these known in existence.
This year's concourse runs from September 30th to October 3rd. For tickets or to learn more, go to audrainconcours.com.
Hey everyone, my name is Danny Poirier-Larson. I'm the Curator of Birds in Training here at Southwick Zoo. And we're here today at the Bird Show Arena, where we do formal presentations with our parrot ambassadors here at the zoo. Blue-throated macaws are critically endangered. These birds are endemic to a small habitat in eastern Bolivia. There's only about 300 individuals left in the wild. So here at the zoo, we support a nonprofit called Association Harmonia, and we're actually able to purchase nest boxes that they place right in the trees and nature reserves. And we've had some baby macaws fledge from nest boxes that we've purchased, which is really exciting for us. And it's really exciting to give our audience an opportunity to directly participate in these really important conservation projects for the species. These birds are trained to perform a couple different fun behaviors to teach our audience all about conservation of parrot species and inspire some conservation action for the species. And our friend Henry right here is actually trained to take dollar bill donations from visitors and place them into a donation bin to raise money for blue-throated macaw conservation. People get really excited, and the birds do get pretty excited about it too. Henry here especially really enjoys taking people's money.
Oh, hey, welcome back. Next up, we head right down the Providence River to meet up with the folks from the Nature Conservancy. Their mission is to conserve the lands and waters on which all life depends. Let's roll on down the river and meet the team.
So my name is Will Helt. I'm the coastal restoration scientist for the Nature Conservancy, the Rhode Island chapter here.
So the Nature Conservancy is one of the largest nonprofit conservation organizations in the world.
We're in over 60 countries in all 50 states.
So today we're at Gaspee Point. We are seining on the Providence River estuary. We have 12 different sites along this river. It's about a 12-mile span. We have this 130-foot long seine net that we take along the shore and deploy out in a big U.
And we hauled it on the beach here to see which fish were present in this area.
And we are then measuring and counting all the fish that we collect.
I think the Nature Conservancy sits at this interesting interface of science and practice. And so we're able to stay on the front line of the latest scientific research and implement these practices. So we get to have a foot in both worlds.
So today we caught Atlantic silverside and striped killifish, which are a forage fish. And these forage fish are really important to the ecosystem. They provide food for other species of fish like tautog and striped bass and scup that we also catch in our seine. And we've caught some juvenile tautog today as well, which is really exciting to see. Lots of blue crabs of different sizes. We also caught some northern sea robin and northern kingfish, which are seasonal to the area and come up just around this time of year as the water gets warmer.
We do it because we love it, but we also get an idea of what the juvenile fish assemblage is this far up in the bay.
These fish are pretty important parts of the ecosystem, so it's important to know year to year like what the assemblages look like and if they're changing and if they're doing any better or any worse than the years before.
Estuaries like this are thought of as nursery habitats, so it's really important to see early life stages of fish in this area.
But what's really unique about this area is it used to be historically degraded, and over time it's gotten a lot better. And so we're starting to see changes in the fish composition and the species that are up here, and that's why we are here tracking that change and getting that historical data set that really wasn't there before.
For us, it's about protecting nature for people, and so we want to make sure that we have this environment that serves us and doesn't harm us. Like, as climate change is affecting folks, more and more people will be displaced and harmed by the environment. So we want to be stewards of it and leave it for generations to come.
Next up, we go out and about. September is the perfect month for a road trip. Not too hot, not too cold, all the crowds have gone back to school. We head just outside Albany where we'll go spelunking with Sparky. It's exactly as delightful as it sounds. Come on. Out and About is sponsored by Paul Massey Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC, home of the one price.
Come in, everyone. Please come in. There's room for everyone. Please come right in. My name's Lester Howe, and I discovered Howe Caverns on May 22nd, 1842.
Howl Caverns is the second most visited natural attraction in New York State. We are just slightly behind Niagara Falls. We're out here in the boonies, but it is a very scenic ride to get here. As a matter of fact, when you look out our front windows, the scenic view is just totally amazing with all the valleys and hills. When you round the corner out of the elevators, you'll start to hear the river Styx. Eventually, that starts to quiet down as the stream widens, and then all of a sudden you can hear the drips coming from the ceiling and hitting the rocks. It's very peaceful down there, to be honest with you. We don't know how old the cave actually is. The estimates are between 65,000 years to 10 million years old. We have the three basic types of calcite formations: stalactites that hold tight to the ceiling, stalagmites growing upwards, and then we have flow stones surrounding the walls. Now, calcite in its purest form is a milky white. However, if that water dripping through the layers of limestone picked up minerals along the way, it actually changes the color of the calcite. For example, we have some red down there from iron, some yellowish orange from sulfur, some black from magnesium, and gray from aluminum salts. Of course, our most popular tour is our traditional tour. Basically, you walk a half mile through the cave, you take an underground boat ride, and then walk out 3/4 of a mile. We can put about 18 adults in there, making the boat weigh about 2 tons, and us guides get the pleasure of pushing these by hand. And then on the way back out of the boat ride, you're actually seeing the bridal altar, where we've had over 700 weddings done down there. And then lastly is my favorite part. It's called the Winding Way. It's 300 feet of curvy cave. There are about 30 curves in that area. Again, that's my favorite spot. We have 2 spelunking tours here on property. The one that is open year-round is called the Adventure Tour, where we suit you up in rubber boots, knee pads, a Tyvek suit, rubber gloves, a helmet with a light on so you can definitely see where you're going. And then we start off with a 12-foot crawl on your hands and knees through an opening not much wider than my shoulder. Lester Howe called it the Devil's Gangway. By reservations only, you can do a lantern tour. That's where the lights are turned off and you are using candlelight on your way out. Every time I go down into the cave, I always see something different that I haven't seen for 37 years. So it is definitely worth the visit. If you've never seen Mother Nature in its finest, this is the place to come.
Don't go away. We got a lot more coming up. Show of hands, who's hungry? Next up, we're gonna keep on cooking. Chef Nick Rabar shows us how to make Rhode Island-style seafood paella. Talk about a party platter. Let's eat. Keep on Cooking with Nick Rabar is brought to you by Wines and More in Cranston, Rhode Island.
What's up, everybody? We're here on the east side of my Avenue N, Providence, to make one of my all-time favorite dishes, paella. So while there are certainly characteristics of paella that make it traditional, it's one of those dishes that have been done 1,000 different ways since the beginning of time. And while it may have originated in Valencia, Spain, today we're making it Rhode Island style. What makes us Rhode Island is the fact that we're using an abundance of fresh local seafood, such as these clams here from Narragansett, lobster and shrimp from right off our coasts, and this beautiful calamari that I've marinated with some chilies and citrus. So in this pan over a medium-high heat, we're gonna go in with some Spanish olive oil. And then we're gonna start with some sweet onions. Next, I've got some chopped bell pepper, as well as some Cubanelle peppers. Now we're gonna add in some chorizo sausage. This is locally made right here in Rhode Island by my buddies at Gastro's Meats. It is fabulously smoked. Let's hit it with a pinch of salt and some fresh cracked pepper. Now, we're gonna let that saute for about 4 to 5 minutes. See, paella is about building flavors, little by little by little, and cooking things at certain times also. You can't throw everything in the pan. It doesn't work that way with this dish. All right, now let's hit it with some garlic. Important ingredient, but also important not to put it in too early because you don't want that garlic to burn before everything else is caramelized. All right, so now I've got a little tomato product here, which is simply just a little plain canned tomato, unseasoned, and that's gonna pincé this all together. It pulls all those ingredients together. Oh my goodness, that's incredible. All right, now that all of that is pulled together, we're gonna go in with the star of the show, the rice. I'm using an arborio rice here, and you can use literally any kind you want. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit it with a little bit of broth. Oh, the crowd goes wild. What you want is about 2 parts broth to 1 part rice. We're gonna go in with a must-have. This is a paella must-have. This is saffron. Saffron is going to make that rice that beautiful signature yellow. Now, what we're gonna do is start to put in some of the seafood. So I've got this Point Judith calamari here. Mostly the tubes, but just a little bit of tentacles. Now is when we wanna go in with these beautiful Rhode Island clams. I'm gonna go in with about 8 little necks. So what we're gonna do here, and this is where it gets fun, is we're gonna put a lid on it, okay? That is going to trap in all of that liquid that's been evaporating so that the clams steam open and the rice stays nice and moist. Come on, you can see these clams starting to pop open. And now we're gonna go on with some of these shrimp. This is looking great. There's an old expression, if you're looking, it ain't cooking, but you know what? I can't contain myself. I have to take a peek. Oh man, that looks incredible. So the shrimp are starting to turn into that beautiful signature orange shrimp color. And now I fully cooked these lobster tails. So we don't want to put them on too early or they're gonna get tough. But I'm gonna go in with some of these claws, gonna bury them right underneath, and then boom, put a lid on it. 2 more minutes. Oh man, everything is looking so good. Now here's an important step. It's a boring step, but it's still important. Put the lid on and turn it off. Okay, we're gonna let it rest because the rice is gonna carry over cook and all of those flavors are gonna come together beautifully and we're gonna be able to see that nice caramelization on the bottom. All right, so it's been resting, it's been carrying over. That steam has done its job. The clams are perfectly open, the shrimp is perfectly cooked, and the lobster has been reheated. Let's go to the bowls here. This is as good as paella gets. So it wouldn't be me if I didn't put my signature on this here. I made a beautiful tomato and olive jam. It's green olives, tomatoes, fennel, capers. It's an enormous amount of flavor. What's life without a little texture? I made some garlic breadcrumbs. And of course, you gotta have a little color pop and a little flavor. I'm gonna go on with some nicely cut green onions. This has to be one of the greatest things I think we've ever made here on Keep On Cooking. I got one for me, and I've got one for you as well. You know I love you guys. Thanks for another fun day. And until we meet again, keep on cooking. Ah! So good!
Hey everyone, my name is Matt, and I'm here at the Wines More here in Walpole, Massachusetts. We're here for another perfect pairing, Chef Nick's Seafood Paella. Today we have Don & Sons Sonoma Valley Chardonnay. This is a 100% Chardonnay from the southernmost region of the Sonoma Valley. And on the nose, you're gonna have a lot of notes of apple, pear, apricot, butter, oak, and those kind of fill through in the mouthfeel. A lot of oakiness, butteriness, creaminess. This is not a overly oaky or buttery Chardonnay, and this is going to pair well and bring all those flavors together in a wonderful, wonderful dish. A perfect send-off to summer. So come on down to the Wines & More here in Walpole, Massachusetts. Try Don & Sons Chard yourself. Cheers.
Well, that's our show. Be sure to follow us on social media and give us all your pumpkin spice, leaf peeping New England tips for fall. See you next time. Simply Southern New England is brought to you by Harbor One Bank. With you in banking and life.